You know that one song you can't get enough of? Chances are it was made with a sample from Splice. Explore top packs made by your favorite producers, sketch out song ideas in seconds with Create Mode, and dive into a sample catalog that's so deep, it's dangerous. Find out why Splice is the industry's not-so-secret secret. Visit splice.com and try for free today. Welcome to the Faders Songs of the Summer Week, presented by Splice. My name is Alex Robert Ross, I'm the Faders editorial director. This week we're exploring the year's best summer songs, from massive global hits to the most exciting tracks from emerging artists. We've broken our list of contenders down into a March Madness style bracket, with 4 regionals or quadrants, each representing a different type of summer song. The Faders staff will fight the tracks off against each other and come out with a winner from each regional before finally picking our ultimate song of the summer on Friday. We're running a new podcast every day. You can follow along on the Faders socials and thefader.com. We've got winners from the main stage and Slacker regionals already. That's Kendrick Lamar and MJ Lenderman into the final 4. On day 3, we've got the Touch Grass regional. This is warm weather music, the tracks that should be drifting out of Bluetooth speakers in a park at 6 p.m. Welcome to day 3 of the Faders Songs of the Summer Week. My name is Alex Robert Ross and I'm the editorial director of the Fader. All this week, we'll be exploring the best songs of this past summer with the Fader staff. This year, we've built our favorite songs into a bracket, March Madness style, and we've broken them down into quadrants, basically non-geographical regionals. And today's regional is the Touch Grass regional. These are mellow tracks, songs to listen to in the park on a warm day. And joining me to drift through this portion of the bracket are the Fader's news editor, Jordan Darville. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, Alex, what's happening?
And associate editor, Raphael Helfand. Hey, Raphael.
Hey, Alex.
So I want to dive right into this one today. And I've got the assignment, which I think Jordan thinks might be quite a tough assignment. I'm talking about Quavo and Lana Del Rey's collaboration, Tough.
Tell me how it's hard for you.
Like the nickel on the strings and your good old Gibson guitar.
Tell me what it feel like.
Like the smoke in the draw of y'all and the way you talk slow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the songs that your mama sang to you, and the way that it makes you tell the truth. If you come from where you come, then you were born tough. You say where you come from. It's not what you want to do, it's what you're gonna do.
Lana Del Rey has a very sort of particularly lonely, summery, sultry sound that really shouldn't work for what feels like a much more convivial idea of what Quavo's done throughout his career. But for some reason, this marries up really nicely. It's something about how stark and how stripped down both sides of this are. It's the purest form of what Quavo does and the purest form of what Lana does. It's like they're not even trying to meet each other halfway and just smashing them together. That brings out something that feels genuinely original. It does feel like it pushes Lana into interesting new territory, and Quavo doesn't sound uncomfortable to me. So Jordan, why am I wrong?
Yeah, man, I don't know. This just sounds like it was written for the soundtrack of a Minions movie that takes place in the Wild West. It just feels extremely polished in a way that it doesn't work very well for Lana, and I feel like Quavo has tried similar kinds of polish in his attempts to make more pop sounding music. And yeah, it's really leaning so heavily on a very dominant cultural aesthetic that doesn't really come so naturally to either artist, that it does. I have to agree with the majority opinion that I've seen from fans of both artists, which is that it just feels like a cash grab from both of them.
Yeah, I'd say if you threw out in the park and you weren't listening too closely, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't run to the speaker and shut it off. However, I think if you listen closely, the fun sounds a little bit too forced.
Well, I've got a feeling that Tough might be the underdog in this matchup. So let's race on to the next track, which is Rainbow by Polo Perks, Ayuli, and Fear Dorian.
Nigga, boy. Hey, bitch, I hit the dog hard, it'll pop the bomb. By the time still smack the
To me, what I said about Tough, it sort of just feels the opposite with these guys. 'Cause I think they're just like very naturally having like so much fun working with each other, and it comes off. I think actually this one, when I spoke to Polo and Feodorian, Polo said like that Feodorian almost had like an aneurysm when he told him to make this beat, because I don't think it's a challenge for any producer to take Israel Kamakawiwo Ole's cover of Over the Rainbow and turn it into a Milwaukee low end beat, I think. However, I think once they did it, they just locked in and like started having as much fun as they did in the rest of the record. I think you could take like most songs in this record and make a case for saying that they're the song of the summer. Yeah, I mean there's a MIA flip. There's a flip of a Ricky Eat Acid song, which they like met Ricky Eat Acid and like became friends with him through. So I think it's just like a testament to like three people in their teens and 20s just like having the most fun making music together, and I think like that's it's fun to listen to.
Personally, like I feel like the original sample has been played out so much that it's tough for me to listen to. So it's a real testament to this song that I want to keep listening to it over and over again. I think a big part of that is just how fucked up both of the rappers sound. Their voices are pretty incredible. Like Polo Perks has this very deep, messy drawl, which is kind of like his go-to flow that I like a lot. And Aoli, of course, just sounds like he's just like a bolt of lightning. He's just like got such an incredible energy. They come together really well and highlight each other's strengths. And you know, it's the I guess I hate this word, but the kookiness, the inherent kookiness of the beat just gives everything more of a free for all energy. And yeah, in spite of you know everything, it works, and it shouldn't.
I've got a feeling I know which way this one's going to go, and I'm not willing to try and force my hand too much. So we're giving this one's going to Quavo and Lana Del Rey, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rainbow goes through. So we'll move straight on to Reminiscing by Mike and Tony Seltzer featuring Jay Critch.
I got skis with my jeans out in London. She a fiend, I don't think that I would. I be leaving the house for a month. I be needing them cups, give me all of the substance. Yeah, it be sleeves, niggas be seeking. Keep it that heat for the niggas that fronted. Modular sneaker, I'm biggest geek. Turn to a creature, shit get the jump. She think I'm unique, call me a freak. When I be beating, and shit get the bust. They see me eating, niggas disgusted. Trust if he see me, he fleeing, he running. That's how she at least keep it 100. Big muscle beach, I can squeeze you an onion. We got the east like a beef for the sun. You keep getting beat, but you need you a gun. Stay on my feet, I ain't leaving for none.
Yeah, so this song comes on Mike and Tony Seltzer's collaborative album Pinball. This project finds Mike in a much more energetic, amplified mode than in a lot of his previous solo works, which, are a lot more pensive and, from the beats to the lyrics, there's a lot of contemplation in the slowed down samples and what Mike's talking about. This is his party album, and Reminiscing is one of the strongest songs on a very strong record, partially because of the guest feature, Jay Critch, who's one of the most promising voices of the New York drill movement, and not necessarily somebody that you would imagine being in Mike's orbit based on previous releases. And I feel like that was a very conscious choice in order to push Mike into new territory. And it's an incredibly fun, bright song. The production reminds me of Zaytoven a little bit. Both of the rappers on here are just like swagging to like an incredible degree in different ways, but it's just the perfect song that you want to put on when it's like midnight and hot out and there's no one else on the street.
To echo that, I think like Mike has been progressively Burning Desire was I think the first example where you heard like Mike just like really, really having fun and like taking some of the weight out of his music that, he's had fun before, but like across a full project. And then, I think Tony Seltzer like definitely like capitalizes on that. Most of Mike's own music is like, he produces it. And I think his tendency is towards like sadder, more contemplative beats. Whereas Tony Seltzer, I think picked up on the energy that he was giving in his last project or last couple projects, and like really ran with it in a way that makes it a very fun song for the summer.
This one is up against Amaare's Jehovah's Witness.
So this song appears on an expanded edition of her new album, Fountain Baby. And that project, it really cemented Amaarae as a really titanic voice in pop music. Whatever question people had about her based on how she became more of a public figure, which was like through TikTok virality. And, you know, there's always a question when an artist goes viral on social media is if that momentum can be sustained, or even if the attention that they gathered is altogether warranted. And Amaarae, you know, made herself known as not just like an essential voice of Afro rave, but of pop music in general. And Jehovah's Witness, it's a really sensual, shadowy sort of song. The beginning of it has this like sort of like mystical, like swooshing melody. It reminds me of Drunken Love by Beyonce a little bit. And Amaarae just has this like, she's talking about sex and she's talking about pursuing sex, but she's doing it in this very fun, approachable way. Her voice is like pitched up, but it's not cartoonish or silly. It's very engaged within a certain register. You know, this comparison might be trite, but like sometimes when I listen to Fountain Baby and like the deluxe all the way through, I think like, okay, we're dealing with somebody who's like the Afro rave Bjork, like somebody who is that comfortable experimenting with different textures and bringing the whole breadth of her personality into the music, and not being afraid to get like a little bit mystical with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have anything especially interesting to say about this one. I think it's really fun. It surprised me for the touch grass category, because I think it seems like more of a late night track certainly than the mic one. But I think, yeah, I mean, Amaarae is a huge breakout star that's making interesting music that, as Jordan said, has like established her way beyond her origins.
So with that in mind, we're facing Reminiscing off against Jehovah's Witness. Who wins this one? Jordan?
It's hard. I mean, they're both my songs. I have to give the edge to Reminiscing just because of the category, like Raphael said.
Raph, I assume you're in the same camp.
Yeah, I think so. I think like if you put them against each other in a different camp, it very likely would go the other way. But I think that Reminiscing is more of a Park song.
Moving on, next track up is A Gentle Gig. It's by Seiji Oda featuring Jake Chapman.
A very therapeutic phase, I'm the gentle gig general. Yeah, I go dumb, but I keep it so minimal. Yeah, I gas brake dip, but I keep my hands on 10 and 2. I ghost ride the whip, but make sure my shit's attended to. Here's even when it lightweight slap, I go dumb. We gon' do it big like fee, fi, fo, fum. Davy Jack and slang, wonder where it came from. And we all got games, so each one teach one. We all different. I got friends who went to Berkeley School of Music. I got friends who let that Glock spill on you for talking stupid. I got homies that's hella hyphy, born after the hyphy movement. I got OGs who teach peace and start a revolutions.
So this is an interesting one. I hadn't heard it before Vivian picked it, and I do like it. Like Seiji Oda, I think he comes from the Bay, and he's definitely like he's very indebted to the hyphy movement. But like on this song, he even says like, I know people who are hella hyphy who were born after the hyphy movement, and I think it's like he's making it a lot chiller and like welcoming people in to a scene that's kind of been a little bit siloed, I guess, or at least like has been traditionally like less welcoming to outsiders. Even though it's quite a fun scene. The producer, Jake Chapman, who goes by Chappie Milkshake, I think I originally encountered him because Instagram recommended him to me. I think he's gone viral with like a lot of like really silly, energetic beats, and he plays the xylophone, and I think that energy like really translates beyond like the video format. And he just like, I think that it's an interesting collab of two people who you might not expect to see together.
This is kind of like a cloud rap hyphy song. It's pretty cool. I don't know if it quite hits the song of the summer mark for me. It doesn't strike me as a song necessarily that would define a certain moment, but it's quite an inventive song.
I think like what it has going for it is that it combines two things that aren't usually combined in a way that like is still like incredibly maybe more accessible than they are in their purest forms. And yeah, I think it's a really strong park listen. It's one of the more chilled out songs on this list.
And that's up against a completely different kind of song in every conceivable sense, which is Ulterior Motives by Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth.
You're counting all the ships in the sky, caught up in the world of love. Everyone knows that you got ulterior motives. Tell me the truth. Never move service. Don't you realize that you're turning lights? If something's on your mind, spit it out and find the perfect guy.
So this was a song that has a little bit of an interesting backstory to it. You know, about 2 or 3 years ago, a snippet of it emerged on a website called "What's That Song?" That's a site where users post snippets and try to commission the identities or the track IDs of the song from other users, and no one could figure out what it was. For whatever reason, I'm sure that there are plenty of snippets on What's That Song that go on to be unidentified, but this track lingered in people's minds. Maybe it's because it kind of sounds a little bit like something that you may have also heard back when you were a kid, and it's a pop song. It's a synth pop song. We've all definitely heard a lot of songs like it. It became a sort of like a minor cult mystery, and earlier this year, a Reddit user finally identified it. The song, of course, is called Ulterior Motives, and it was written by Christopher St. Booth, who is a working film composer, and Philip Adrian Booth. And it originally appeared in a 1986 porn called Angels of Passion. Once the Booths got wind of how much attention this song had gotten, they gave it an official release. You know, it hadn't ever been, you know, released to the public before outside of Angels of Passion. Now it's out to the world, and in its fully mastered form, it sounds like a little bit like Duran Duran. It sounds like the stuff that Ariel Pink was really attached to, this sort of like new wavy, very glammy sort of mid-'80s pop music. You know, I have a soft spot for the pop project of Sam Mehran, the musician formerly known as Outer Limits Recordings, who passed away a few years ago. And when I first heard Ulterior Motives, this really reminded me of his work. And yeah, it is very much a touch grass kind of song. You can really imagine the sun hitting your face for the first time all season while you're listening to it.
So how do we fight these two off against each other? What comes through between A Gentle Gig and Ulterior Motives? I pass to Raphael.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have what they have in common is maybe like their ability to connect things that you wouldn't necessarily think of together and make them feel super accessible.
Porno and new wave music in the case of Ulterior Motives.
Yeah, I think probably Ulterior Motives does a better and more interesting job of that. It just feels kind of more iconic due to its backstory.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ulterior Motives too.
Ulterior Motives it is, which leaves us with our final matchup. First up, Kingdom Come by Cindy Lee.
This album was big this year for a lot of people. And Cindy Lee, Pat Flagel's been around forever, first as Women and now as Cindy Lee. And this was kind of a weird moment for them to explode in a way that I think ended up being kind of detrimental to them. They had to cancel their tour and all that. But I mean, beyond all that, I think this is like kind of the perfect lost summer love song. You know, I don't even know if that's what they compose it for, but it's about like a friend who you don't know if you're ever going to see again, and it's super sad. So it's not something you maybe want to throw on at the function. However, it reminds me of like that feeling you get when you think of like a really good day at the beach, but then you think about like, oh wow, I'll never get that day back again with those people again. So yeah, it's like super nostalgic and sad, but also very summery in that way.
Yeah, this is an amazing album, a great song by an essential artist. Yeah, I feel like you said it perfectly, Raphael. It's something that has like a strong sense of timelessness while remaining out of time. We can, talk about like the Roy Orbison-y sort of like Phil Spector kind of, guitar and production, but it doesn't feel like it's making a play for that era. It just sounds completely organic. And yeah, it's really just, it's one of one.
So this is up against Ravyn Lenae and Ty Dolla $ign's Dream Girl.
You don't have to use your imagination. We don't need talking, there's nothing left to say. Just give it to the temptation.
Giving in to temptation. I'm putting notes in a location. Baby girl, I'm on my way. You say you wanna leave LA, okay? We can slide for the weekend, yeah. But what's on your mind, what you thinking, yeah? Real love is not complicated.
So I went out to LA to profile Ravyn Lenae when this album started rolling out. We got the first look at it. And as you always do with projects like this, you have to listen to the album basically hundreds of times to get inside it. And it's a testament to this album overall that the day it came out, I still sort of wanted to jump back into it over again. And I'm still not sick of any of the tracks on it. The original album, of course, I didn't have any of the features on it. I didn't have the Childish Gambino feature, and I didn't have the Ty Dolla $ign feature on this. So that gave it a sense of novelty to me, and I think he fits in really well to this. But the headline is, as always, I think it's Ravyn Lenae's voice. What I think is really impressive about Ravyn Lenae's voice in particular is that while she's compared to people like Minnie Riperton by producers and engineers, which is obviously like incredibly high praise, instinctively, because of the way we talk about music and the way we talk about women's voices in particular, our instinct when we hear somebody with a voice as breathy as hers is to describe it as delicate or waif-like. There's just these sort of reflex actions that we have. But going back through her catalog, even to the early stuff when she's in her teens coming out of Chicago, her voice remains the centerpiece of things, and they don't have to reduce things around her. Nothing else needs to shrink to make space for her. There's something quite formidable about her. There's a real strength to the vulnerability in the voice. And I think she brings it out really nicely in her lyrics a lot of the time. The music on this record plays into it really nicely. Dahi, the executive producer on the record, did a fantastic job of pushing her into really interesting territory that she wanted to break off. As far as Song of the Summer candidates go, I think it fits squarely into this category of Touch Grass. It is pretty much what I imagine when I think about sitting in a sunburned park at like 3 p.m. and reading a book and trying not to have any concerns at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both really, really strong candidates for some of the same reasons. Like, she likes Cindy Lee, which is, a drag project. So it all speaks the way we talk about women's voices. And I think that Pat Flegel is playing with that with their Cindy Lee project. Yeah, I think both of them sound sort of like they belong in a different era, but they don't really belong in any era. They're like very much of their own time.
I hadn't thought about that comparison. That's a really good point. Although that doesn't make the decision about which one goes through any easier. Jordan, what do you think?
I feel like the Ravyn Lenae song, it is like on its face like the perfect summer song. It's very creative and bold. It's sort of like this bossa nova meets New Jack sort of song. Ty Dolla $ign has a feature, and his presence actually boosts the record. It doesn't undermine it, as it has been shown to do over the past year or so in certain other projects. Yeah, I got to give it to Cindy Lee on this one though.
I'm biased.
I accept the bias, but I think Jordan gets to be the tiebreaker there. Much though I would love Ravyn Lenae to advance. Okay, cool. So that one goes through. All right, so we're going to run through really quickly the semi-finals. Our semi-final matchup. The first one is Polo Perks, Auli, and Fear Dorian's Rainbow up against Mike and Tony Seltzer featuring Jay Critch as Reminiscing. What's going through that?
I think it kind of depends on what kind of time you want to have at the park. Rainbow is like this big ball of energy, really silly. And it's interesting because like Polo and Mike come from not entirely disparate scenes, although like they sound totally different and their energies are totally different. I think there's something to be said for like Mike stepping out of what used to be his comfort zone here and sounding like entirely comfortable. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're trying to like if you're trying to really turn up, then I think Rainbow is better. If you're trying to sit in the park and still have a good time, but not maybe the same kind of good time, then I think the Mike song works better.
Raphael, I am trying to turn up. I'm always trying to turn up. I'm very demure about how I turn up. I feel like the Reminiscing is absolutely a song that you can turn up to, like wear your flashiest outfit, not a stain on it, and just really show out. I like Rainbow is absolutely a song you could turn up to. That's very much like you're gonna get a bunch of cheap beer spilled on you, and just sort of like attempt a bunch of crazy dances that you've seen that you think you can do but really can't. At my age, I'm very much valuing cleanliness and smelling good. I've left the days of bringing a Tide to Go stick with me behind, so I'm gonna have to go with Reminiscing.
One vote for Reminiscing. Raph, which way are you falling?
I guess I'd lean Rainbow, but I think we'll leave it up to you, Alex.
All right, I get to be a tiebreaker for the first time. I'm going Rainbow. Rainbow wins out. Storage, but this is one for the Tide Pen community. And so our other semi-final is between Ulterior Motives by Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth, and Kingdom Come by Cindy Lee. Where are we falling on this? Are we going to go down party lines again? Raph, where are you?
Yeah, I think it's like sort of depends on the kind of summer that you're having. If you're having like a really wistful summer, I feel like this is one for like the end of summer, when you're looking back on your summer and like feeling kind of happy and sad about it. Whereas, yeah, the Ulterior Motives, I think, is just, it's more fun in general.
I have to go with Cindy Lee on this. Both are songs that play with sounds that we've heard before. I mean, granted, Ulterior Motives was literally written in the 1980s, but I think you could make an argument that it's more derivative of things that were going on at that time than Cindy Lee is of what their influences are.
I'll go Cindy Lee too, I think.
All right, so we set up a final matchup between Rainbow and Kingdom Come, which I'm genuinely thrilled about this final matchup. One-word answers. How are we doing this? Where are we falling? Well, two-word answers if it's Kingdom Come.
I'll say Rainbow just because of the category, not because of my personal necessary preference. But if we're going by category, it would be Rainbow.
I think it's got to be, if we're touching grass, I think it's got to be Rainbow.
I am genuinely thrilled to announce that the winner of the Touch Grass Regional, the Faders Songs of the Summer bracket 2024, is Rainbow by Polo Perks, Auli, and Fear Dorian. I think a really strong candidate has come out of this regional, and that's the most important thing. So all that's left for me to do is to thank you guys for joining. Jordan, thanks very much.
Thanks, Alex. This was fun.
Thank you, Raphael.
Thanks, Alex.
We'll be back tomorrow with the next episode. Goodbye until then. The Faders Songs of the Summer Week is presented by Splice. Visit splice.com and try for free today. Our intro and outro music is provided by Country Girl. It's an instrumental version of Tastes Like Cherry, out now on the Fader label. Go check that out on streaming services. Our engineer is Tony Giambroni, and we'll be back tomorrow. You know that one song you can't get enough of? Chances are it was made with a sample from Splice. Explore top packs made by your favorite producers, sketch out song ideas in seconds with Create Mode, and dive into a sample catalog that's so deep, it's dangerous. Find out why Splice is the industry's not-so-secret secret. Visit splice.com and try for free today.